Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Of course, this is TFT, and today we are diving into the absurdity of Karen. Should be interesting. And of course, you guys see I have sitting alongside me, coming out of the briars and brambles to judge those who whinge and whine with lightning from every single hole in his body screaming to the heavens. It is Thundero.
My
Hey,
poor wife. Hello.
how you doing
How are
today?
we today?
I'm great,
I am
man. I'm doing good.
I am spectacular as usual.
Oh, that's awesome. I have been sitting under a literal cloud for about 2 weeks. I haven't been
Hmm.
able to wash my car. It's just raining
Hmm.
every day. Yeah, I know. You would think with the rain it would keep your car clean, but it doesn't.
Not so much, huh?
No, it builds up this kind of grime layer. Yeah, but everybody knows that. But hopefully the rain will stop eventually. Of course, it is the rainy season, so I shouldn't be surprised. But waiting for the typhoons right now. That should be fun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Well, I mean, in America, you had yourselves the pandemic there, Corona-chan. Then you had the BLM, and now you have your typhoons and hurricanes coming on as well. So, yay!
It's gonna be a fun summer. Summer's just getting started.
Yeah,
We're right
right.
in the middle of this sucker yet.
Yeah, no.
Um, I don't think it's gonna be the summer of love though. I don't think so.
Yeah, that didn't age
Uh
well. That didn't really
no.
age well at all. Yeah, she's. When as soon as she said that, of course we're talking about the mayor of Seattle town, or should I say New Chaz? But as soon as she said that, I was like, "Oh, that's not going to work out," because I knew it was going to happen. We all did, and
Yeah.
of course the media hasn't really pushed it. But then again, that's we should probably do a show on the phenomenon that is media.
Oh my
To be
gosh.
honest with you,
You want
because
to talk about the conspiracy? There it is.
yeah,
The
well,
mainstream media.
it's a lot deeper than you guys think. For instance, a lot of people, wonder why is CNN still around? They're not doing well, and all that, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what you don't
Hmm.
understand is the Turner network owns parts or has influence in so many foreign news agencies around the world. So, although they might
Hmm.
not be making money in America, they have influence like you wouldn't believe, dude. It's
Yeah.
insane how strong they are, right? Other than the fact that they're in every damn airport on the planet, right? But anyway, we're not here to talk about CNN. We're here to talk about Karens. However, do keep in mind, Thundero, I will be asking you and the chat for your
Uh-oh.
very, very best, Karen experience. So keep that in mind and think about it a little bit. And
Best.
best, please. But I did want to start the show out with some interesting things. Let me do that first because today's going to be a bit rough, folks. We're going to need as much levity as possible. So let me go ahead and get this set up for him so he can take a look what I'm going to show here, and then let me bring this up for you guys directly. Now, I want you to take a look at this video here, and I want you to think: is this Beirut? Is this Mogadishu? Is this some third world country we're looking at here? Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, yeah, just driving along. Things are burnt down. It's looks like a war zone, right? Absolute war zone. Where do you think this is, Thundero?
If I had to guess, somewhere in Minneapolis.
It is in Minneapolis. What a wonderful thing. Not only have they cut their police because, of course, they're the problem, they've also have a situation where a lot of cops have gotten sick, and a lot of them have also came in and said, "Well, we have PSD." They've lost what 30 to 40% of their entire police department before they even have defunded it, which have done, of course. But yeah, this is America.
Yeah,
Look at that shit, dude. Look at that
looks
shit.
like a third world country, doesn't it?
Man, it does, right? And a pox upon these mayors that let this shit happen in America, dude. A pox
Yeah.
upon them, right? And I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Right? Well, I did play the whole thing. Sorry, but I mean, how ridiculous is this that the is this situation, right? But of course, today we are talking about Karens, and well, the point that I'm going to try to make today, because we're going to look at the meaning of Karen first. But before we get into that, I really want to kind of set us off on a happy note, if you don't mind, because this is kind
Mm,
of a frustrating topic. So a
hmm
little bit of fun, a little bit of fun, if you don't mind. Let's do this one second. Here we have Mr. Roger Stone, who is now free. Get him, Roger. Get him, Roger. Get it. He can dance a little bit. He got some moves, man. You get it, Roger. You go, baby. Yeah,
I love it.
so do I. Absolute insanity. They have nothing to go on. They have no evidence of any kind of Russian influence. So what do? Just try to throw everyone around him in jail, which we've already talked about here on TFT. But
Yeah.
here's a good example of happiness for and of course Trump's getting pushback on it, but good for that. And this is just the beautiful thing. This is how few shits he gives. Let's just watch this.
Oh my God, I'm busted. Drinking Russian vodka. Mueller, arrest me. Libtards.
Libtards. I love it. I love it. Watch it again.
Oh my God, I'm busted. Drinking Russian vodka. Mueller, arrest me. Libtards.
Libtards. That's perfect. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Congratulations to Mr. Stone for being out and not having to go himself to jail for what? Nothing. But
For 3 years for uh, uh, obstruction of justice when he was trying to not be framed for a crime he didn't commit.
right.
That's what they were going to put him in jail for trying to not allow them to frame him.
Yeah. No, it was a whole bunch of nonsense. The Mueller investigation was complete sham. Now, especially all the information and evidence we have that shows that the Obama administration intentionally pushed this thing forward, even though
Yes.
they had nothing to go forward on. Right?
Yeah.
It's all part of the big thing, and of course, at least he's gotten out. And I have a feeling if Trump is elected in November, there will be many more pardons or commutations coming soon. I'd imagine. This one was just so egregious that Trump just couldn't let him spend a day in jail. And good on you, Trump. Good on you. I mean, there's plenty of things that Trump does that people don't like, and I get it. But that was a good thing he did. So don't listen to all these idiots, particularly the GOP that are saying he shouldn't have done that. Screw that. He should have absolutely done that. Absolutely. Why should he suffer for angry Democrats? Because that's what it comes down to.
He shouldn't have done that. Obama, the previous president, did at least 2 domestic terrorists, convicted domestic terrorists.
Yeah,
He commuted their sentences.
yeah, yeah.
Suck it.
Yeah,
How
suck
about
it.
that?
Yeah, it's a lot of that going on. It's a lot of sucking it going on. But anyway, let's get into the Karens here and deep breath, deep breath. All right. So first of all, I would love in the dulcet tones of Thundero for
Uh,
us to look at the definition and understand what a Karen is.
I mean, you want the actual definition,
Yeah,
or do you
right
want me
here.
to
I
put it
got
in
it
one
up
word?
in front of you. You can read it.
I can give it one word, and then I'll read this. A
Okay.
bitch.
Yeah, sure.
Karen is a pejorative slang term for an obnoxious, angry, entitled, and often racist middle-aged white woman who uses her privilege to get to get her way or police other people's behavior. Wow, so basically all of the progressive people in the country.
Mhm.
As featured in memes, Karen is generally stereotyped as having a blonde bob haircut, asking to speak to retail and restaurant managers to voice complaints or make demands, and being an anti vax Generation X soccer mom. I don't know about the anti vax thing, I've never heard of that. There's more to it, hang on. In 2020, Karen spread as a label used to call out white women who were captured in viral videos engaging in what are widely seen as racist acts. Yeah, calling the police evil, horrible racist.
Well, I have seen some racism, but I don't. But this definition is kind of being a little bit broad in it.
Yeah,
But nevertheless, I saw this, and I understand what the Karen meme is. I know there's a lot of things I don't get, and you guys chastise me all the time. Chester, how come you're so stupid? I get it. Um, but because I don't live in the States, there's a lot of things I don't get, and there's a lot of things I don't do. I'm a busy dude. I'm out in the world actually doing stuff on a day-to-day basis, as many of us
You,
are. I
you
just
guys hear these excuses?
well,
Excuses.
they are. Well, I don't even own a cell phone, dude. I don't own one.
Oh, I wish I didn't. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't. But she literally, it's the one thing she nags me about because what if something happens to you? That's the only thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have one at all.
No, I don't. I have a tablet which I use at work all the time, and of course it has I use Line basically to communicate with my friends and family. But I have a secretary to deal with all the things that need to be done in the Japanese world. I mean, I do speak Japanese, but I'm not perfect at it, and I never will be. Right? It's impossible to you find an individual who's truly mastered a second or third language to in a spoken way. You found a very unique individual, right? So having an actual native take care of all those kind of things, and my wife as well, it's just smarter. Right, so I let them take care of all that kind of interaction stuff, and then I deal with the things live and in color. Right, so I just I'm not I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to a lot of these kind of cultural things, and it
Mm,
sounds like I'm lucky that I am. But I know what the Karen thing is because it happened in front of me. And the point I'm after today, Thundero, is I want to. I disagree with this definition. I
me
don't
too.
think this is correct. Yeah, you as well. Because this is the thing that I don't agree with. It says that they are often racist, middle-aged white women. Well, they do
No.
tend to be women, although I've seen some men, but they do tend to be women. But I don't think they're exclusively white at all. At all. Matter of fact, I would argue quite the opposite. And let me try to make my point here. Let me bring this up real quick. And I mean, here's the standard thing for the Karen, right? This is the image of the meme. While you were busy why can't I say that? Partying. Thank you. I studied how to live. And when you were having
Mm.
premarital sex, I mastered the laugh. While you wasted your days at the gym in pursuit of vanity, I cultivated love. And now that the world is on fire and there are no managers to speak to, you have the audacity to ask me for the help. Uh, uh, this right here is great. What does this say here? Julie says that, does anyone else think that Karen slur is a woman hating and based on class prejudice? Maybe, maybe, maybe. Get the manager. This is actually a better meme because that's what they kind of look like. I mean, that is a bulldog right there. She got to get your ass, man. Watch out, right?
Oh
Uh,
my.
Now this right here is kind of the stereotypical Karen, right? But isn't this a Karen as well? Isn't Big Red a Karen? Now she's still a white woman. She's kinda. It's a feminist, right? You know Big Red, I'm
Oh,
sure.
absolutely, she's a Karen.
But it's a
She
Karen,
was
right?
one of the originations of that particular meme.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because
Well.
the first iteration of this meme, or one of the first, was the "Can I speak to the manager?" was, or the "Speak to the manager" haircut, that haircut right there, and the one in the other picture. Um, but it was also one of the things was her mouth, the way her mouth's shaped. Most of them have that mouth shape. I don't know why, but they do. Their top lip goes up, and their bottom lip is like straight, and there's no curvature in it, and it's just they look like weird, angry fish.
We used to call that mouth breathing. Mm.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, okay, so this is easy. I think everyone can say, yeah, okay, that's a Karen. All right. Well, how about this? Isn't that a Karen too?
Yeah, it's not showing on this side. I have to wait. I have to wait till it comes up. There we go. Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, right. I mean, this little girl with a 12-year-old boy body is up there screaming and yelling that you say she's bossy when she's made millions because she was bossy kid. Right? I mean, the
Yeah.
absolute hypocrisy coming out of this chick. And the thing with it is he for she. How much did that irritate you? Right? I mean, men in general, everything they do is for women. It's built into
Yep.
our frickin' DNA, dude.
Yep.
but yet we have to do more.
It was actually shocking to me that Camille Paglia, a very well-known and used to be loved feminist by the left, was out here rallying against that because it's ridiculous. Obviously, all of civilization has been built for women, for
Yeah,
mothers, so we could
yeah,
have children. We did all of that for them. We didn't build vacuum cleaners for ourselves. Right? We didn't invent that, or washing machines for ourselves. We didn't. Women were the ones doing that work. That's what we invented it for. We
true.
don't. Most of the things in modern life that people take for granted were designed. One of the exceptions, of course, would be like the computers. But other than that, were designed to better women's lives, to make their work simpler. What people
That's
consider
right.
women's work simpler. So to suggest that the patriarchy is holding women down, I don't know if that's ever been true. At least not the way they claim it in the West.
No.
Maybe to some degree, but nothing like they claim. They pretend like we're straight up Islam over here, and we make them wear burqas. Like that's
Yeah.
never been the thing.
Even Islam isn't Islam, though. That is only in
Right?
extreme areas, right?
Yeah.
And it's never been true. Women have always been in charge of the household. They've always been in charge of things. You don't think every powerful man that's ever existed didn't have a powerful woman sitting right next to him? Really? Yeah. Of course, this is part of the argument. It's the angry, entitled woman meme is what it's all about. And of course, this so far I've shown just white women. These are all white women. These are the
Mm.
stereotypical. This is different because that's a lesbian feminist. This is I don't know what this is, but this is a child. But how about this? Isn't this a Karen as well? Are you going to tell me she's not a Karen with her big mouth that she's flapping all the damn time?
Oh yeah.
Right now, that's not a white woman as far as I know.
She's
She
a very wealthy one though.
the most wealthy woman in the world, as far as I understand.
By herself, yeah, without marrying into it or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stuff
just
like
on
that.
her own thing, volition. I think she did marry or had married. I always thought she was a lesbian, but I guess she's maybe
No,
not.
I mean she is. As far as I know, she's still married, but she's definitely the breadwinner in that
Oh yeah,
relationship.
yeah. She's a rich, powerful woman, and you know what? Good on
Yeah.
her. She built that on that. She built that herself. She did,
Yes.
and she deserves all those accolades because she did what she did her
But
thing.
Chester,
But that's a
Chester,
Karen.
she has privilege, and privilege is evil, and it is inequitable. How dare she succeed where others have failed?
That's right.
What is wrong with you? How dare
Especially
you, sir?
especially being black. She's not supposed to be able to
Black
succeed
and
at
a
all.
woman, and
I
probably a
know.
lesbian. Oh my
At least
gosh!
somewhat. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's kind of for me. It's an easier argument with Whoopi Goldberg, but whatever. But nevertheless, I just want to set these little examples up here before we get into it because I'm really questioning the fact that Karen is supposed to be a white middle class woman because I don't think it is. I think it's as Thundero said in the very beginning. He kind of stole my punchline there, bastard. Uh, bitch. It's just a bitch,
Yeah, that's
right?
all it is. It's just
Yeah,
a person. There can be male Karens, let's be clear, who is just obviously miserable at the world for whatever reason, whether it's earned or unearned. They're mad at the world, and they have the ability, because of their privilege, to get people's attention to problems and things, or just they're just annoying. They'll just continuously pester somebody because they think they're entitled to whatever it is they're trying to do.
hmm
A great example is the "Can I speak to the manager" thing.
yeah,
When just the slightest little thing is wrong, instead of just being like, "It's not a big deal." Like most reasonable people are just, "Okay, it's not a big deal." But
that's
some
right.
people just take my wife's aunt is this. We don't go out to eat with her because it's every time she sends it back because it's wrong, every time. And I'm just like, no, no, I'm not dealing with that. You're ridiculous. You're being ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I think the reason why I'm saying I don't think it's actually a racial thing. I think it's a cultural thing. Because here in
Yes,
Japan, women are women, right? Men are men.
yeah.
But I've never, ever, ever seen a Karen in Japan. Never. Now, I bet you there is someone somewhere that would fit the description, but I've never seen one. I've never heard of one ever. right?
Mm.
And women hold a position of authority in this culture at an extreme high, because Japan is still like the West used to be, where the mother will be listened to. You better listen to mother, or you will get wrapped across the head, right?
Yeah.
And as it should be. I mean, it's the mom. You listen to mom. Don't disrespect mom. And I've made this argument a few times. Is why it's so hard for women to be funny in comedy. It's unfair, but it is what it is, because we're taught to respect the mother, not laugh at her.
Yes.
That's an uphill battle for a woman in comedy. It really is. It's an inequality, and you know what? There's a lot of inequalities in life, and you know why, Thundero? Because we're not all equal.
You gave me the flutters.
I did. I did. Well, let's catch up on the chat here and see what they have to say. Whoa, Karen did that. Karen must be stopped, from Timotei Best. Minnesota, no, close. Minneapolis. Roger is Wilden. Yes, he was. Let's see. Joe says, Karen's on TFT, sir. I can assure you, Karens are most real, sir. Most real. They are real. There's no argument here. Uh, let's see here. Joe says, now where Fairgate? Wait, no. That's real though. I don't know what that means. Why
Oh,
you
I'll
know
I'll tell
smart?
you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, good, good, good. Uh,
Hello, you knuckleheads.
hey, what's up, Slickhead?
Hey, Slick,
Slick.
Slick Cat.
Slickhead. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was a sexual joke. Let's see. Timothy
Mhm.
says, we have Karens running people's lives because the husbands can't put them in line. Well, there is a balance in a relationship. And I know for sure that there have been times where I was being an idiot and my wife would let me know about it in private, by the way, never in public. And I would do the same. Far less rare, much more rarely. I'm usually the idiot. But there have been a couple of moments. But yeah, no, of course. We are supposed to be partners, right? Everyone used to simp for Emma in 2010s. Why? I never understood the thing with Emma Watson. All those kids were fair enough. They did their job, but they weren't what made those movies fun. It was all the great, absolutely stunning, amazing actors around them, the older people, that made those movies fun. She's not super skilled. None of them really are, and they've proven that. And she's not horribly attractive. I guess she's got a cute face, but I mean, she literally has the body of a 12-year-old boy. What are you all
Mm.
simping for? I mean, really?
Uh, apparently 12-year-old boys.
I guess. It's widespread, man.
Every
Uh,
picture I see her, there's a vibe that I get from her that she's always slightly disappointed in her life.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
wouldn't know why.
Yeah, well, millions, that'll make you upset. But she grew up with money. She grew up surrounded by privilege. So what do you expect? Paglia warned that the left would become like this. Well, dude, it's far worse than that. You do realize now that we're getting a pushback from Hollywood writers and things like that, because they're like, we're not able to get jobs because we're white now. This is anti-racism. No, it's just racism. And suck on
Yes.
it, bitches.
Yeah.
Suck on it. That's your fault. That's your fault. Now you deal with it.
The Joker movie, the fact that it was no coincidence, by the way, the fact that the one of the last scenes is the "you get what you effing deserve" part, and he shoots a late night guy in the head, because that is quite literally what the director was telling them.
Yeah.
You created this monster. You get what you deserve. You wanted Clown World? Well, here it is in the Joker. It's a perfect example of it. I don't believe for a second that all that imagery and all that symbolism was accidental, or he was just trying to tell a good Joker. No, no. First of all, he's a fantastic filmmaker, so he knew what he was doing. And second of all, that was intentional to its core from the get. He had a message for all of his peers that they got to stop their nonsense, or they're going to get what they fucking deserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what they're getting right now. That's what's happening.
And there are many examples of this throughout history. This is nothing new. It's like,
Yes,
read a book. But our chat is very wise and observant, guys. I have to say, I'm very proud of our chat because they've noticed stuff. She's a dark skinned Karen. She is, dude. But Buddy makes
true.
the best point here. He says she trained the stay at home Karens to turn their kids into bitch made soy boys and new Karens. Yes, she did. That's
Yep.
exactly what Oprah did. Her whole entire career is built on man hating. That's why she became so successful. So once again, it's not a white woman thing. I really don't think it is, and I'm going to continue to show why I think that is. Let's see. Santa knows what you want for Christmas, little girl. Breast. That's fair enough. Emma Watson. Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of surprised she had gone and got some slapped on her anyway. But the problem is she'd have to have hip replacements and butt replacements, and there'd be a lot of replacements going on. She'd be like a cyborg or something, you know. But anyway, yes, you are. You are absolutely brilliant, buddy. But all right, so I've caught up with the chat. So let me get into my little dissertation. You guys feel free to jump in anytime you want, okay? But so we're talking about Karens here. So I have a whole bunch of Karen's stuff here, so let's take a look here. We're gonna watch some videos on the Twitters, on the Twatters here. Okay, let me go back down to that one I was looking at because that's where I wanted to start. Damn it, Autumn. This one's fine. Let's start with this. I looked at a bunch of them. So here we go. Let's take a look at the Karens in action here. Now let me.
We don't cover our face in America. They don't control us. We're Americans.
They don't control us. We're men. All right. So she's upset about something, and once again, that is not.
They don't control us. We're Americans.
We're Americans. Is that what she said? Okay.
Yeah.
But she's upset about something. We can't see very clear what it is, but she's yelling, screaming at who exactly? But that is not by any means a white woman. That is a Latino woman, right?
She looks like it.
And she's another one of those bulldogs. See, this guy's like, all right, baby, okay, oh, baby. And the language. Now, is he being a Karen or is he simply
Why
defending
is he
his
wearing
woman?
a shirt? Oh,
Because, Florida.
why are stereotypes so true? It's just- go on. Sorry.
No.
Fine, I'll cover my mouth. Can I go be seated now? No.
Okay. Now, I've seen a lot of these. Let me pause this real quick. I've seen a lot of these. Now, I said pause. Listen, do your job. But I've seen a lot of these lately where the Karen's not wanting to wear masks. And we've talked about this a little bit. And I before we continue, I do want to get the general consensus of the group here. For me personally, if you're going to an area where you're stuffed in with a bunch of people, just wear a mask. It's not that big a deal. If you're walking around outside in a park and stuff, well, you don't need to. But if you're going into a place, particularly if they're asking you to, just wear one. It's not a big deal, right? It doesn't matter if it's helpful or not because most of the statistics show that the masks do very little, but it's placebo, right? So I mean, if it makes people happy and it makes people calmer, just wear one. That's what I think. What do you think, Slick?
If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad.
That's a very untruthful statement. Thundero?
Oh, I posted a nice long thing on Facebook about it the other day, but I will not wear one unless I'm made to.
Yeah, but if
Simply
you go into a
because-
place and they say you can't come in here without a mask, you're going to wear one.
Well,
Right?
that's what I'm getting to. If I'm on private property that is not my own, then fine. If I'm on public property, they can suck on both of my testicles.
Suck
And
it!
the reason being is because one, it is not a law. Two, I will not yield to their laws. Because as soon as you start yielding to the simple, reasonable things where they try to force you to do it, it doesn't take long before it becomes unreasonable.
Oh, it's already there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with the suggestion. I have no problem with stores being like, hey, put on a mask. I disagree with it, but it's their property, fine.
Yeah.
I do have a problem in public property because it's not the government's property. It's my property. And I will not be dictated to on my clothing in my own property outside of basic decorum. It's just
Okay,
not going to happen.
fair enough.
Well, I
Now,
mean, I have a mask if I need it, but nowhere around here is demanding that you have a mask except for Panda Express.
oh, there we go. Panda Express, yummy, yummy.
Of course.
That's perfect. But good joke. But I live in Japan. People wear masks kind of all the time. It's not a new
Yeah.
thing. And particularly if you go deeper into Asia, like in China and stuff like that, where the air pollution is just out of control. People wear them normally, right? So so it's not a big shock for Asians to be wearing masks. So it's a norm. For me personally, I don't. Most of my life is spent in offices and classrooms, so I don't really get out into the public very often. But I always, anytime I'm doing that, I'm with my wife, and she has a mask for me. So if I come up to a store or something like that that has a sign in the window that says "Please wear a mask," well, I just put one on. Right, but normally I don't wear them very much. Mainly, the main reason is because I'm a teacher standing out in front of a classroom teaching, and my mouth must be seen, right? So
Mm.
that's the main reason I don't. But I don't really have a problem with them per se. But then again, I don't live in America. I live over here, and it's not a weird thing. So I don't know. It's different.
The reason I have a problem with it is because we've already seen somebody put a great post on Facebook of this progression that has happened the last few months. It just keeps going on. And every time it's people with the same argument. Well, it's just this, it's just that, it's not a big deal. It's just, well, when does it become a big deal? How far down this ladder do we have to fall before we no longer can climb back up? That's my point. Now, I don't care if private property, that's their house, right? I believe in private property rights, so it's their house. As long as they're not making me try to do externalities from their property as far as my behavior or what I do or what I'm allowed to do or whatever, then fine. Same if somebody comes to my house, I expect them to follow the rules of my house. That's fine. But public property, there's a big difference there. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's any evidence at all. I know there's not. In fact, I've looked at the CDC and the WHO evidence that a mask in public, like outside or in a very spacious place, as long as you're not right on top of each other, does anything. I don't think it does, unless you're extremely symptomatic, like coughing and sneezing all the time. Most likely, you're fine. And by
Oh, yeah.
most, I mean like 99% chance you're fine. So we have to have a little bit of sense here. Are we so afraid of death that just a 1% chance of it is enough to make us throw away everything that made America what it is? All forms of freedom, all forms of just sanity, that should destroy our whole economy. Like, is that worth it to us? 1%
Yep.
chance of death? Because I guarantee you do activities every day that have a higher percent chance of death, and you don't even know it.
It's actually nowhere near 1% of death, dude. It's like
Exactly.
a tenth of a percent. But that's not the point. Let me ask you a question.
You're more likely to die driving than you are of COVID.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Many things actually, alligator bite. But that's not the point. If there weren't political things going on with the absolute rabid left right now, do you think you would care as much?
Yes, I would. The rest
Okay.
the rest of the country would not.
Yeah.
Just because I'm
And
more
you
aware of.
should care a great deal.
Yeah, just because I'm more aware of things, of how quickly and easily this stuff gets creeped into straight up tyranny. Wearing a mask is not tyranny. Having to wear a mask isn't tyranny. But it becomes that very quickly when it starts being, well, you're not allowed to work unless you have this mask, which they've already done in a lot of states. You're not allowed to do this and this and this and this unless you have this mask on, which, as I said, and as we know, and even the WHO says, there's just no evidence besides circumstantial and what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with a C. Correlate.
Convenient.
Sure. Correlation. Yes, that's the word. That it does anything as far as, except for, like you said, placebo. It makes people think like they're doing. My wife works with this stuff all day. When she goes to work, she works with COVID patients all day. She was in the COVID unit. She still treats COVID patients, but they shut down the whole unit because we got a handle on it, thankfully. But she works with it all day. You know what they don't do? They don't wear cloth masks on their face. You know why? Because they don't do anything. That's why.
Yeah.
They're not gonna stop anything. You need actual respiratory equipment to do it. And a little cloth mask isn't going to do it.
That's true. That is true. I got to.
And the reason that's important, Chester,
Well, hold on a
The
second,
reason
John.
that's important.
I have to
Okay.
do something real quick. So, John, please continue speaking, and if I'm not back quick enough, read the chat. I'll be back in a second.
Do it,
Well,
Sean.
I don't have access to the chat, but there is
I'll read it.
something like a really key feature that you guys are missing here, and that is the whole meme of the Karen was not meant to target these rogue women that are out there just causing a fuss. I mean, the people have been doing that since time immemorial. The whole Karen thing is an attack on people that feel essentially like what you guys have been railing against, the people that feel that they should have autonomy over their own lives, the people that go into a store and are asked unreasonable things, the people that get extremely poor customer service. You know, you come from a small town or something, and you know you're used to somebody giving you an answer or looking you in the eye when they talk to you, and you get somebody that's flippant that says, "Oh yeah, I'll get on that right, you know, in a second." And it's this awful behavior, and people are frustrated with it. And when you speak out on it, they call you a Karen. It's targeted at you guys. It's not targeted at the minority. It's not targeted at these white women. It's targeted at the people that expect a higher level of living. It's meant to make you feel uncomfortable, like you're doing something wrong.
It's an interesting
because you walked into a. No, it is.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's designed to stifle anybody who demands better as well. I think there's two different sides.
I told this story a little while ago about how I went in to try to go buy some ammo. I hadn't bought ammo in a long time, and now in California, you need a background check to buy ammo.
Jesus.
But not only that, you need a background check unless you've bought a firearm since 2014, and it's a $30 background check if you haven't bought a firearm, and it's a minimum 2-week waiting period for ammunition, not a gun, for ammo.
Ridiculous.
And when I found that ridiculous,
I would drive to Nevada.
Oh yeah, I got one anyway. But you know,
that's exactly.
Just drive to Nevada. It's only like 4 hours up and back.
Nah, I went to my homie D up in Compton, and I got a gun.
Buying ammo
Exactly.
in Nevada.
But the thing is, when the feeling that you get, that feeling in your chest, like, why am I being treated like a child? They want you to stifle that.
It's true.
Because if you speak on it, you're a Karen.
It's true. It's a good point. I think that's why the
Karen,
mainstream.
Most people call out Karens when they spaz, you know, when they really go crazy. Because there have been times when I've been very firm about something, and I said, "This is unacceptable, and this needs to be fixed. Can you do that right now? Otherwise, I need to see your manager. Thank you." And it'll be like that.
Oh, Karen, automatically.
Well, yeah, but I don't scream. I'm always very calm. And then when it's done, I say thank you, and that'll be all. And that is not a Karen.
You're not a Karen, unless you're being seen through the eyes of the person that you were talking to that was offering you poor service or something unacceptable.
Whatever they want,
and they're the ones going to film you on their phone and put you up on Facebook.
And I would be just like, "Have a nice day. You need to do your job."
Right.
Well,
everybody in the comment section would say, "Look at this entitled asshole."
And they can say that all they want because
they do. Nobody stops them.
If I want my burger with an extra thing of cheese, which I'm willing to pay for, that's how I want it. You know, and if they bring me the wrong thing, then I'll ask them to put it back. And usually I don't use that kind of voice. I'm like, "Oh, this doesn't have some cheese. Can I get another slice, or can you just take that back, put some cheese on it?" You know, like I asked initially.
I did that today. I did it today. I went to Carl's Jr. and I got the $6 Angus burger, whatever it's called, whatever it was. But it ended up the whole meal altogether ended up being like $12, right?
Sure, yeah,
it's pretty pricey for
it's that way, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then I go through, and my wife wanted hers, lettuce wrapped. So I go to the drive-through, pay, leave. We park in the drive-through to eat because it's hot and we don't want to, the air conditioning. And both of the burgers are lettuce wrapped. So I go in and I just go in with my burger and I say, "Hey, this was supposed to have a bun."
Yeah, and this has happened with me and with Carl Jr. and other things many times. I always want like the shredded cheese that's actually cheese, not the American, which I think is a processed abomination made by the American.
But the thing is, the point of it was that
I don't want American
to the point
cheese.
where it was an expensive burger.
But that happens a lot. Right. But that happens a lot with me, and I have to go back in and either say, "Can you make me another one?" Because once you have American cheese on it, I can't get the taste out of my mouth. I mean, I really don't like it. And so that's happened multiple times, and I go in there and I just say, "Can you replace this?"
So
I asked for
All right, but
cheese.
if we're getting back to the point of it instead of like specific burger stuff. What I'm saying is the point of it is to make you feel as though it's inappropriate to go and ask for what's right.
Well, again,
I think John has a point here, though.
Customer service, but when you get
I don't know. I
somebody,
think
like I saw two
I think I'm not
Karens,
coming
quote
through
unquote.
because I keep getting talked over by everybody.
Well, no, you're saying that one thing, but when a guy's looking at something in the hardware department at Walmart, and he gets two ladies with cameras coming in there and going, "You don't have a mask on. How dare you not have a mask on?"
It's called peer pressure, and it is
that's
intentional.
that's what I'm trying to explain here. I think John's correct, but he's half correct. Because I think that's why the mainstream of the society, the cancel culture idiots have adopted it for that exact reason, to try and silence anybody who demands better, because obviously they don't like that idea. But I also think there's another side to it where the meme came from was more of like what Slick's talking about, where there was just these women who just think that they can tell other people what to do because reasons, and they'll film it or whatever.
If you look at those memes, like when they first started, it wasn't people that were being very outrageous. It was the kind of person that would go outside and taking accountability for their own neighborhood and telling him, what are you doing parking here? Why are you parked in front of my house smoking your pot? Get out of here. And they're unreasonable for doing that.
Well,
it's the whole making you have to call the cops.
Let me interject here, because I agree with you 100% on that, John. Because I've been looking through a lot of these Karen memes, preparing for today, and I saw a lot of them where the older person was not the issue; it was the younger person being a shithead. Without question. So, I mean, this Karen thing is a real thing. It's clear. I'm going to show you many evidences of it today. But there's also that other aspect that John's talking about, where young people have no damn respect whatsoever, and you, as a responsible person in the neighborhood, have a right to demand people follow the rules and keep your neighborhood clean and safe. That is not being a Karen. That is being responsible.
Yeah. There's different grades of it. I think there's like with most memes or even just things people call people, there's different grades of it, right? So if I'm being like a man's version of a Karen would just be being an asshole, right? You're being an asshole. If I'm being an asshole but I'm right, I'm going to keep being an asshole because it's just that simple. But there are times when you're not right. You're overreacting, you're had a bad day, whatever, right? In that point, you should be called out. So I think there's value in it both ways, but I do think it goes actually to my argument beautifully that you have to be careful, because when you start exerting that kind of pressure onto people, even just a meme like the Karen thing, it can go way past where you intended it to the point where now people are just afraid of even asking for basic things, right? Just like, hey, this is messed up over here. Will you fix that for me? Ah, you fucking Karen. I can see that already happening, in fact. So he's got a point.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance there, right? Everything's in the middle.
A lot of these artworks that people are putting out, a lot of people are putting out artwork on Twitter and TikTok and all that stuff. And it's little comic strips, or even it's just a single image of somebody wearing a mask. And it'll say something like, wear a mask, asshole.
Yeah.
And it's like, so, it's like a pseudo trying to be a tough guy. Like essentially what they're trying to do is be a social justice warrior, but a tough guy because I'm expressing it in my artwork, and that's how it started before. If you recall, it wasn't just, straight out Nazi. It was, you're an asshole. You're being shitty. You're being this or you're being that. I guarantee you, if you wear a mask in about 4 weeks, if you're not wearing a mask, you're a Nazi. Guarantee it.
Well, that's already happening.
That's already happening.
It's already happening. But I do want to move on and look at some more of these videos and stuff. And chat, we're not ignoring you. I'm reading everything you're saying here, and there's some funny ones. But El Rodimus says a very interesting thing. It needs to be brought up. Are yoga pants becoming everyday wear? The cause of Karens? Well, these yoga pants here, I'm not in approval of. But when my wife wears them, I approve. Fair enough?
You better approve.
Damn right. Well,
it's just another symptom of these women feeling it's the next evolution of the women that wear sweatpants out to Walmart and stuff. It's just the ultimate comfort, and they need to get it together.
Yeah, but isn't the word doesn't the word eyesore mean anything anymore?
Nope.
I guess not. Anyway, let me go ahead and listen to this. Now, I just wanted to, I kind of regret bringing up that topic, but a lot of these videos are either about masks these days, at least the ones that are most recent, or racism. And that was a shock to me, but let's get into it.
But it's about the safety from
I don't think she does yoga.
I'll cover my mouth. Can I go be seated now?
No, because you're not filling out the forms or letting us take your temperature. It's about protecting our
You
staff
can't take
and
my
everybody.
temperature. That's against the law.
I do that every time I go
You're
into
not
an
an
office.
MD.
We're not
Okay?
allowed to. We
No.
can't see you. That's
I have a right to sue you for harassing me.
Okay,
the
no, you
manager,
don't. You
and
don't
this
have any
entire
right
company.
whatsoever like
Smile,
that.
whatever.
All right. That's a Karen. Okay, okay. Now, let's see here. Do we have another Karen? Let's take a look.
Go ahead.
Are you good?
Good.
On your way.
Good.
Right here?
This lady's crazy, y'all. I'm at my house. I'm at my house. Huh?
Crazy Karen.
No problem. No problem. This lady's in my way at my house saying I don't live here. This woman is saying I don't live here. This is my house. You crazy lady. Another white lady pulling some old bull crap. You know what?
Interesting. I've seen a lot of these videos where, now this one I didn't hear her say it, but I've seen a lot of these ladies using the N word just liberally without any compunction whatsoever. And a lot of these black dudes are actually very patient with them. I mean, because he's being patient with her. She's accusing him of not living here and to get the hell out of her neighborhood, right? But yet, he's being very patient with her. So this is clearly a Karen. It fits a little bit into what John was saying, but it's not, right? What do you think, John? Did I?
Well, I have lived in areas like this. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can
No, I
hear
can
you
hear you.
now. Yeah.
And it's a constant problem, especially where you see where he's parked. If he lives there, he's living there with a bunch of other people. You see other grown men also living there.
Yeah.
And it's a constant issue because it's a bunch of grown men hanging out at the house in the middle of the day on a work week. You know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
probably many cars on the other side of the streets blocking all the driveways, and it's probably a constant issue. So I understand where she's coming from,
Sure.
but unless you know, you shouldn't really do shit like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, and there is a lot of that from what I understand. But then again, one of the reasons why we've had
And
this
it's
has been
because the
going.
housing prices are so
Yes,
outrageous
that's
that
right.
a lot of people are just living together.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Thanks, liberals.
And
Thank
she
you,
probably lived in there. She probably grew up in the neighborhood, and she was there when the housing places first came up, and it didn't used to be like this, but now it is, and the growing frustration and all that. But get a grip on your life.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of both, right? Once again, this is not a white woman, though. That is not a white lady.
You look white to me.
No, that looks
That's white.
like she looks Armenian or something like that. That's not a white lady at all.
She looks like a caterpillar,
Armenian
but I
sounds
think it's
white.
white.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I got
They're
to
white,
grab something
Chester.
real quick. Go ahead.
There are two types of Armenians.
this lady is obviously
the Semitic Armenians and the Caucasian Armenians.
Chester just kicked out
No, they're both
Armenia
white.
from the white race right here on TFT.
Look at her. She looks like she doesn't have a torso. She has a thorax. She's like
Isn't Armenia
bug.
in the Caucasus Mountains as well? I mean,
Yeah, it's in the Caucasus Mountains.
yeah. So how are they not white? The very term
Well, here's the thing,
Caucasian comes from
I have two Armenian cousins because they got adopted in our family. One literally looks like he could be, an Arab or a Jew. And he's very Semitic looking. And the other one looks whiter than my father. So I mean, and they're fraternal twins. So go
Wow.
figure.
All right, sorry about that. I'm back. So busy. But
Chester,
no, hold on a
Chester,
second. Yeah, go ahead.
I need you to clear something up for me, bud. Why are Armenians not white?
Well, they're Caucasian.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, so are Indians. Indians are Caucasian as well. Matter of fact,
Well,
they're
yeah.
the root of most Caucasians. So, therefore, what is white? I guess would be the question.
This lady is white. She looked white to me.
Well,
There you
but
go.
see, the thing is,
That's what
John,
it is.
She could be Hispanic though.
She
Yeah,
could be, and that black dude could be Mexican, but he looked black to me.
yeah, but the thing is, John, you are Caucasian too. You
Oh.
see. Well, so that's my point.
He's like, oh.
Is Caucasian
So,
white
so
or is
no,
white
no. What
white?
your point is? No. White is whatever you look like.
Yes.
Now you look at me. Nobody's gonna mistake me for being white. You've seen me.
Yeah.
So if somebody says this Mexican dude over here, I'm gonna be like, well, actually, I'm technically a Caucasian. No,
Technically, I'm mestizo.
Well,
Okay.
that's my point, though, John.
Technically, I'm a 70% Spanish influence. No,
But see, that's my point, though, John. See, I wouldn't call you or her white. I'm white. I'm half Irish, half Norwegian. I'm very Celtic. I'm super white,
Yeah.
right?
About
But
as white as you're going to get right there.
right, I am the ultra white. But that's so where does the line? I guess because John is clearly a Caucasian, and this lady's clearly a Caucasian. But I would never consider her to be white.
Well, that's the problem right there, Chester, and that John's actually pointed this out. White people don't know. We don't know anymore. We don't have our identity's been stripped from us by being the super culture of the world for most of our lives. We just kind of don't exist as a people anymore. Like there isn't really an identity for white people that's at least not allowed to be portrayed in any positive way, especially nowadays. So we're just kind of lost. Like this whole conversation here 50 years ago would be easy to answer because they would just know. They just have the answer. But now you can't. Who knows anymore? Everything's up in the air. The left has completely dominated all of our academic institutions and redefined so many things over the last 40 years. I mean, we don't even know what gender is anymore because they say it's not this thing, but it is this thing. You know what I mean? You see what I mean?
That's
I
how
get
many
you.
times Chester chastises me or tries to actually me. The lady looks white to me, so she's white.
Okay, fine. But
I'm not going to be held hostage by SJW Chester.
Well, see, the thing is, though, anthropologically, though, the use
Oh
of
my
black and
God.
white. No, this is important. The use of white and black is very much an American thing. You see,
Correct.
we say black, we don't mean African. They mean specifically the people who have some African origin in them of mixed race that are in America or other places outside of Africa. Black does not mean pure African. It actually, most of them are mainly European. Therefore, we have a new title for the mutt, right? The mulatto. Right? And most white people in America are a type of mulatto as well. That's why we use white, because just like me, I'm a white person because I'm mixed Irish and Norwegian. I'm not purely Norwegian. I'm not purely Irish. I'm a mixed white thing. Therefore, I am a mulatto white. Right, whereas a mulatto black is well, American black. That's from anthropologically, that's where the white and black words come from. We would never use the word to talk about black without African after it if we were talking about sub-Saharan Africa, right? It has very specific meaning, but it seems today there's people don't care about meaning, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that's what they've done. They've completely destroyed our language and our ability to just talk to each other rationally. Like we all in here, we pretty much all get it, right? And I understand what John's saying. That this is pretty much the way the world outside of America, especially, and maybe Europe as well, sees it. Is they just see it based on appearance. So when somebody like if you went to like I don't know, Brazil and asked people what's a white person, and you specifically, they just point at you. Right?
Yeah.
You're a white person.
Yeah.
Because you look like a white person. Now, if John did that, they would have to say, whatever, because John doesn't look like a white person. He doesn't have the appearance. So about 98%, I think, I've seen these numbers because they've done studies on it. About 98% of the world judges racially insofar as what a person's race is just on appearance, even though that's not actually true. Just on appearance, like Aborigines aren't actually black in Australia. They're Mongoloids, but they look black. So they are Negroid. I'm sorry, but they look black. They have blackish skin, so people just assume they're the same as Africans, even though they're not.
Yeah, but
No,
that's
they're
not how
not.
people get into it in the world at large, especially in America. It's very simple. It's either you're white or you're super white, or you're brown and you look super native. That's as far as they go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's very
You're either
superficial.
you're either a black dude that looks like you're from like Watts, or you're a black dude that looks like, oh, this guy looks like native, like he comes from Africa or something.
Right.
That's it. That's
Well,
as far as it goes.
Matt C makes a very good point here that I have to ask a question to the panel and to the chat. He says, "I thought Chester was black this whole time." Now he's joking, I'm sure, but I've actually had a lot of people say that to me. Like, "Oh, I listened to you, and I thought you were just a black dude." Legitimately, they were really thought that. Do I sound like a black dude?
It's just you have a deep voice. That's all.
Yeah.
Deep voice equals black. I'm gonna
Yeah,
write
a
that
lot of people
down.
think that right now, even though you
You
got
can
guys
thank
like
the
Chris
media.
Tucker.
You can thank the media for that because they always, when they want a nice deep, bass voice or whatever, a deep baritone, they find a black guy to play that instead of, or like even in voice acting, they'll find a black guy usually to play that. And if they want a
Oh.
softer male voice, they go with a white dude. That's why a lot of people,
See, I thought
you've
Chester was
heard
black because he uses big words that he doesn't know the meaning to.
That's fair.
you've heard a lot of people, a lot of comedians, they put on that white affectation that they say is a white affectation because they think that's what white people sound like, or at least the broad, that's the stereotype. But the stereotypes aren't 100% true, or they wouldn't exist. They'd just be definitions then. But stereotypes are generally true, whereas blacks often have deeper voices than white men, especially in men and in women, because they have higher testosterone. That's the only reason.
Yeah, fairly true, I would say. Steel Penfiddler says, "In Texas, we have white folk, black folk, and everybody else is considered Hispanic." Sweet. Sweet. Yeah. Eric says, "Chester
Oh, they are.
isn't
Nobody
black."
differentiates at a glance between Hispanic or Puerto Rican or anything else. It's just you're brown, you look like you're Mexican.
Yeah, they're all Mexican.
That's it.
If you ask my aunt, who is Puerto Rican, there's Puerto Ricans and everybody else, and she doesn't like any of them. So
Yeah. What's happening in this video? I've been watching it for a long time.
Yeah, no, I want to check it out too. No, I'm trying to give us examples. There's so many, and keep in mind, I'm just at the top. I'm just at the top. So let's listen.
Little daddy, right? What'd you say? Oh, snicker liquor. You're proud of that? You're so proud of your fucking son? Oh, yeah? Oh, bitch. Oh, yeah, bitch. Hard cut. Go ahead and say what the fuck you want to say, dumb bitch.
All right, now here's another example of a lot of videos I see. The woman who is taping is clearly a black lady, and I guess the kid, we didn't hear that part, but the kid said pejorative, the N word, and I see a lot of that, dude. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and when I was young, no one used that word. Even the black people didn't use that word. Now everybody uses that word. It's mean. It's a mean word. That's why we don't use it. But everyone's throwing it around, and white people so freely. What happened? What happened? There's a lot of these videos with white.
No, what he
ladies
did was
just
he
saying,
called her a snicker liquor. Is what he called her.
it wasn't the N word. It was a snicker liquor. What does that mean?
What's a
I
snicker
like
liquor?
Snickers.
It's a creative way of not saying the N word.
Okay, so
Like,
it was,
like
but
jogger.
it was intended. Okay,
Mhm.
but there's many videos where there's white women just saying it over and over, straight up, dude, and hard R, straight up, right?
I've explained it to you, Chester.
You
It's a
did.
lot of it, especially in the young kids. They're told they listen to this to rap and stuff that has it's replete with it, hip hop rap. So they get it's in their psyche, right? That it doesn't mean necessarily a bad thing. So when they're with their friends, they'll call each other, not hard R's, just as that's just how they talk to each other. Basically, just means dude. But the problem is a lot of society, and most of society, and probably rightly so, still castigates that word as just evil. You shouldn't use it, period. But there's a huge double standard. So now, because of that culture, the hip hop rap culture, that has made that word very common nomenclature in the black community,
Yeah.
they say it all the time too, or versions of it.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
So a lot of people don't like that double standard. People don't like, especially Americans, don't like to be told what to do. We just don't like it. We're not fans. So they see this
I'll
double
be quiet,
standard.
Karen.
Yes, they see this double standard, and they're just like, screw that. Plus, the other side of it is it is such a taboo. Younger men, especially like that young man there, are going to go at it because that's what young men do. They attack taboos. That's literally your job. If you're not out fighting wars, you should be challenging society on the things that you're not allowed to do. Now, I personally, even around people who anybody would call a actual white supremacist or whatever, even they don't use those words. Seriously, they just don't. They even when they're describing them, they won't. They'll use cute little other words for it, but they won't use that one. And the reason is because it's uncouth, right? Like there's
uncouth.
no decorum in it.
Yeah.
It's trashy, and I think the problem is exactly that. There's a whole lot more trash as far as just class-wise than there ever was in this country. And or at least in the last 50, 60 years.
Mm.
And now we all have cameras in our pocket and we have access to the internet. So now you're just seeing a lot of it. You're just seeing how much America has degenerated just culturally when it comes to manners and decorum and respect for your elders. Like is it that young? If I would have talked to an older person in any way that was like that, whoo! My 300-pound father would have had me
caught
up.
one just for interrupting two adults speaking. I would have caught one from my dad.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, people are getting, like I was I touched on it earlier with those people. And I forgot to mention, like, one of the reasons that people hang out in their cars in the street with the doors open like that and their leg out and they're hanging out, they're on their phone, is because they don't have privacy in the house.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They get home and let me make my phone calls and let me do some stuff in my car before I have to go in there and interact with the 9 other people that I'm living with. And it's just people being frustrated with the situation that they're living in.
Yep.
And it's not going to go away. It's just going to take another form.
Yeah, no, things have clearly changed in regards to what you guys said. I remember when I was like around 11 or 12 years old, there was a neighbor girl about the size of a beach ball, about the same shape too. And I called her fat. Well, she is fat. And she was nasty too. And I got my ass kicked. It took 5 of them, but they kicked my ass. And I deserved it. You know why? Because that was his sister.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no regrets about that because I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. Yeah. But there doesn't seem to be any policing, inter-community based policing going on whatsoever, other than women yelling at you. And that's nothing new. Women have been yelling at noisy people for a very long time. But it's certainly become more carcinogenic.
I think a big problem, as you just saw there, is the fact that these women are yelling at each other, and it's because that gentleman there isn't doing anything. Like laughing. I said, if I would have done that at his age to anybody, even if they deserved it, it wouldn't have been pretty for me. It would have been a bad time from my father, who never punished me except for if I did something like that in public.
All right.
Like he just didn't do it. My mother handled it. But I think that's a big part of the problem. Is men have been so delegitimized as parents to the point where their own children don't even listen to them in a lot of places, in a lot of ways anymore. I remember even growing up when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, it was the reverse in this case, but my one friend used to call his mom all kinds of bitches and cunts, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't even imagine thinking that about my mother, or let alone speaking it to her. My little 4'11" mother would have killed me. I'd be dead.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be a dead person.
Yeah, a lot of that is not going on. Now, this video I stopped on for a very specific reason, because once again, we're talking about Karens and how it's a female thing. I don't think it is.
Neither of them know how to fight.
No, they don't, but they're just kids. But the thing is, now, when I was young, the only person that would spit on another person, it would be a girl. A boy would never do that. That is, we would never take it there. But so this dude here, I hope he got his ass absolutely handed to him. You see that teacher in the back letting it go? You're damn right he's letting it go. This kid deserves an ass whooping. That you've got.
I've
to
done that
be
before.
kidding me.
It's a power thing. You get in their face and you spit and you say, "Don't wipe that off your face." I'm kick your ass, and they don't.
Oh,
it's a power
John,
thing.
you would get laid out hard, dude.
I wouldn't. I would have kicked your ass, just.
Yeah, you spit in my face, I'd break my foot off in your ass.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be war. But I mean, it's just. I mean, what do you think you're doing?
That's the disadvantage you white people have is you believe in honor and fair fights. There's no such thing as that.
Oh, I don't, dude. I don't.
No, that's the precise reason I avoid fights.
It's going to be rough and tumble and eye gouging.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, maybe. But it's this outrageous thing that this kid would just sit there and do that. Now, who knows? This mulatto boy here on the left, he might well have done something to deserve the ire of the white boy. But damn, dude, you just don't do that. You just don't do that,
Yeah,
man.
you don't
No.
do that. If you want to do something, let's take it outside.
This
Don't spit
Karen
in
is
somebody's
amazing.
face. That's
She's
bullshit.
so scared. She's so worried. Help
Wow,
me
she
out.
looks like Buddha.
She does. I'm looking for one specifically though. I'll come back up or
Oh.
there. This is Twitter as we speak. So where's the one I was looking for here? Now hold on a second. Oh my God. Oh dude, put on a shirt. We don't need to
See, now that one right there, that lady is absolutely in the right. That dude is literally walking around with a basically what looks like a mask around his junk. That's how he's walking around out in public.
What's that?
That one right there, the one he's got with her two hands up and look at that.
Yeah, oh boy.
At least he shaved.
Looks like he came out of a concentration camp. What happened with that?
Now hold on. Now here we go. Now
Damn
let's
it, Jimmy! What are you doing out there?
let's take a moment of to look at some fun here. This is
Did
not
you
a
just call
Karen.
him a balloon?
Now hold on a second. Shush it. Listen.
Oh my God! You better kill it. You better kill it. Show me something. I see it
She's
That's
digging that
awesome,
CNC
man.
Music Factory.
It's great, dude. I mean, this is not a Karen, right? She's having fun. It's not half bad either.
Maybe white people do deserve to lose this country. Holy cow.
Come on now. Come on now. She's having fun. She's not doing too bad at all, dude. That's not bad.
All I have
on.
to say is she needs to do that more often.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
there you
does.
go.
Yeah, she does. You're right. But I just thought that was a funny one. Let me come. This lady right here is very upset about something. Let's take a look what she's upset about. All right, let's see. Let's see.
Reporting me now? Hey, Internet! This man and his Doberman just attacked me and my Chihuahua.
It's not a Doberman.
It's
What are you doing?
He just bit me!
No, he
a,
didn't.
what? Okay. Now,
Someone call the police! Reporting me now? Hey, Internet!
now,
This man and his Doberman
No.
just attacked me and my Chihuahua.
It's not a
no,
Doberman.
now.
What are you doing? Did it?
Even her own dog's looking at her like, what is wrong with you?
Now, this is an extreme case, but John actually mentioned a little bit of this earlier. I see a lot of these videos where not only is the woman overreacting for some. Now, we have to keep in mind we didn't know what happened before the video came on. Fair enough. But overreacting and just straight up lying. Right? This is an absurd version of it with this particular lady. But what do you guys think about these Karens? They're just lying. And the thing is, here's the thing: if the police came, right, and she was able to convince them that this dog was trying to attack him, there's a fair chance they might euthanize that dog.
Yes.
Right? It's fair chance. And we know how cops are around dogs, and it's the way they're trained, and it's absolute bullshit. We know there's video after video of dogs getting murdered by cops because of they're afraid and their safety and what have you. Little dogs too. So she doesn't care at all about this young man, and that sounds like a young white kid, right? Is what it sounds like. And he's not yelling at her, he's not cussing at her, so the onus seems to be on her. But why do these people not consider the consequences of their actions at all? Where has all the honor and responsibility gone? Right? Because this is a very
There are no consequences to this. What are you talking about? There's absolutely no consequences. You can take this video because this is essentially her trying to get this guy's dog killed and probably get him beat up by the cops.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is an attempt.
That's what it is.
And there's no consequence whatsoever, socially or by law.
No, that's my point. How do we get to that? How do we get to that point?
We got to it very slowly and then very quickly, which is how this always happens. When we started to allow people to curtail the things we're allowed to say or would be called pejorative, pick one, that's how we got there. So now what you have is you have women who know for a fact that they have this advantage in society, and they always have. But they play the victim and pretend that they don't. And if you don't allow them to do that, you're a sexist. You're a misogynist. You hate women, which is
I would say this is a direct byproduct of letting women out of the house unaccompanied.
I think it's a direct byproduct of not calling women on their bullshit. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's
Nick,
men allowing women to get away with way too much for way too long, to the point where they allowed them to take over family courts, take over pretty much every court, where you're not allowed to do anything to a woman, even if she's beating on you with a weapon. You're still not allowed to defend yourself in most cases. That's preposterous.
Yeah.
To the point where I've seen cases where a woman is threatening to kill a child, the man punches her in the face, and the man goes to jail.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's an insane world.
Well, let me give you a little bit of an anecdote here from Japan. And I understand there's many different cultures and countries around the world, but just, these are the experiences I have. Now, we don't have a lot of crime here in Japan. We really don't. But there are several times a year that there is some kind of crime or misbehavior going on. And the government works in tandem with the media to either help catch the person or demonstrate what has happened, right? And there are at least 2 or 3 times a year that you'll get some woman who has done something just absolutely horrendous, and she gets the walk of shame just like everybody else, right? Japan does a really good job about that. And like I said, we don't have much crime, but when it happens, they make sure they put it on the news and they show everyone what this person did. Shame on you, right? And clearly, this is not happening in the States at all. Clearly not. Because if she was afraid of any kind of shame whatsoever, she wouldn't be doing this. I mean, come on. I mean, let's look at this again.
Me now?
Now, look here when she's. It's
What are you doing?
it's even bad acting. She doesn't even believe it. She's even laughing, right?
You don't think that these YouTube videos are somebody's attempt to instill shame?
Of course, that's what it is. It is, but it should be at a higher level of state than just some teenage kid. Yeah,
I agree. I think we have to start holding women accountable. If they lie, we have to start holding them accountable, and that's starting to happen. Thank God. In some places, in some states, they're starting.
What was
to
that
get the laws
outrageous? What was that outrageous percentage of rape claims that turned out to be false?
95%.
Yeah.
What the shit is that? Like that should be punishable by jail time.
It
What is
should be.
going on?
And that conversation is starting to happen, John.
I believe it should be punishable by the same statute as the rape itself. So if you're going to pull that stuff on a man or anybody else and say that, they raped you and then it turns out to be false, the same punishment that would have been handed down for the rape should be put on the person who falsified the report.
Yeah, and understand that number actually is probably much higher, because that is only dealing with statistics that go to the police, that the police are actually are attempt to take to court, and most of them either aren't allowed in court because there's no evidence, or they lose in court. So it's actually probably much higher than that.
Nick C says that dog attacked her. Get glasses, you old farts.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah.
I love it. That's actually hilarious because I am getting glasses. They'll be here next month.
Wow, that took you a long time.
Yeah, it's because everything's backed up because of COVID.
Well, I mean, it's in your life. Most people get them when they're younger. But that's one of the tough things for me in my school. I teach kids, right? And the boys don't care, but the girls, they really shy. They don't want to wear their glasses in class, and of course they must wear their glasses in class because there's a whiteboard, and they have to wear the glasses, and I insist upon it. But I also try to help to soften the ego a little bit by saying, "Oh, they look good on you. Don't worry about it," or something like that. But the glasses thing is still a thing. Interesting. Anyway,
well, the funny thing is,
it should be. I'll ridicule somebody with glasses at the drop of a hat.
The funny thing is just like the term snowflake lost its meaning very quickly when it started to be adopted by more of a mainstream, conservative audience, because it used to mean someone who was unreasonably responding to the very slightest of inconveniences. Like you'd see these videos of people who now some people might call Karens, just literally breaking down in tears at nothing, at just nothing that
Oh my
shouldn't have
God,
broke
yeah.
them down into tears.
Yeah.
That's what snowflake meant. That's what it originally meant. It also had a double meaning of, that I'm part of the snowflake generation where we were taught we were all special and unique,
Yes.
which is obviously nonsense. But it's a double meaning there. But it went to mean basically anybody who complains about anything, you're being a snowflake. Because normies, as the internet calls them, don't understand irony, I guess, and they don't see why that was a thing. Like they just didn't get the memo, I guess, on what the actual meaning of snowflake was. That's another example with this Karen thing. And I think John's right. I think it's starting to drift, or has even drifted, from just calling out women, mostly women, but also men too, but mostly women who are just being completely unreasonable, to anybody who has a complaint, legitimate or not. Right? If it's a reasonable complaint, you're not being a Karen. If you're pretending a dog attacked you when it's clearly not attacking you, yeah, you're probably being a Karen.
Yeah. And keep in mind, these videos I'm showing you are from right now live on Twitter. These aren't from days ago, weeks ago, months ago. These are just right now. And there's plenty to choose from, right? There are more horrendous ones or more interesting ones, but I thought it would be better for us to simply look at what's happening today, because it's outrageous how much of this is there, how much of this there is. And let's take a look at this one, because this one, this lady's off her freaking nut, dude.
So I can fuck you with my fucking dildo, bitch. Step to me, bitch. Step to me, bitch. You nigger loving whore, child.
Aye.
Step to me, bitch. Let me see your titties so I can you can suck my dick, bitch.
All right, now,
What?
now, I'm not going to play the whole thing because I probably already just got kicked off of YouTube just for that
What
little
was
bit.
that last part?
but-
that was the
but
most offensive part. It didn't make any sense.
Oh no, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You can go watch it yourself. Like I said, it's right on Twitter right now. #Karen. Right. But this is the interesting thing. That is clearly a white lady. She's looks like she's an activist of some kind. I can't tell because this child that took this video is showing it in portrait mode instead of landscape, which I don't know why they don't get that. They're supposed to be more. I'm supposed to be the boomer, right? Anyway, first of all, she's talking like she's black. She's making a voice, vocal inflections as if she is black, right? And it's just the absolute vulgarity of this woman. And from what I understand from the video being shot, this is a young kid that she's talking to, right? That's a young black girl. Now, did that black girl do anything to start it off, or did she have any culpability in the situation? Probably some, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to play more of the video because, like I said, YouTube will definitely pull us for that. But I mean, here's an example of another example of these white ladies, these middle-aged white ladies, just throwing the N-word out like it was nothing. It was nothing. And it's like, damn, dude, that's racism, isn't it?
Yeah.
I also
Yeah,
think it's
I
very much
think that's
racist,
racism.
Chester. If you're confused about what race is,
No, definitely that was clearly a racist barrage.
Yeah, that's a
But there's a
racist
lot of
rant
them,
that she's
dude.
gonna.
There's a lot of them.
I do want to say one thing though, as I think he's correct in this. Thomas Sowell, he says that he's written books about it. In fact, that black identity, what we consider black, being black, like how you said she's speaking like she's black, is actually just white trash Southern identity.
It is,
and they just kind of appropriated it.
That's
so I think she's really just speaking like the, probably white trash that she is. And it's there's no question about it. That was obviously racist.
Yeah.
There's no gray area there. That I have to agree with Tariq on this one. Yeah, you found the racist. There she is.
Yeah. We never ever want to agree with Tariq Nasheed, by the way. But Anonymous Flash says Thundera is wrong. Karen's is a racial slur focused on white ladies. The same video with black or brown women are just funny videos. Okay, he's being I see what he's doing. Okay, because no, that's kind of my point today, El
no, he's not.
Rodimus.
But they'll never. They'll never post a video of some black lady getting crazy at the takeout line and call it a Karen.
But it is a Karen, though.
It's just her being oppressed.
It is a
Of
Karen.
course it is.
It's a Shaniqua.
oppressed. She's being oppressed by Taco Bell. How dare she?
It's a Shaniqua. But this right here was a pretty interesting video. I'm sure everybody's seen it. And this is not a Karen at all. This
Right.
black family was harassing her. They drove up and they hit her with the car, and she got out because she thought she was going to die, and she put a gun to try to get him to back up. That's not a Karen. The black woman is. Yeah, the black lady is Karen, right? We looked this idiot.
No, I
already.
agree. I agree. I think that whole case is preposterous that they were even arrested or charged with any, especially a felony. That was ridiculous. They were clearly being harassed. They tried to leave twice. They didn't let them leave. What was she supposed to do? Just sit there and just be kidnapped? I guess. Don't fight back. Just let people kidnap you, because that's a kidnapping. If somebody won't let you leave somewhere, sounds like kidnapping to me.
Yeah, yeah. And just I'll come back to these because there's a lot of funny videos to look at, and we'll look at them as long as we're talking about it, I guess. But I did have some points because is this not a Karen? This is definitely a Karen.
Is she telling me to wear a mask? If she is, then yes, it's a Karen.
I guarantee you, she's telling you